At that time, Peter turned and he saw the disciple whom Jesus loved following them, the one who also had leaned back against him during the supper and had said, "Lord, who is it that is going to betray you?" When Peter saw him, he said to Jesus, "Lord, what about this man?" And Jesus said to him, "If it is my will that he remain until I come, what is that to you? You follow me." So the saying spread abroad among the brothers that this disciple was not to die. Yet Jesus did not say to him that he was not to die, but, "If it is my will that he remain until I come, what is that to you?" This is the disciple who is bearing witness about these things and who has written these things, and we know that his testimony is true. Now, there are also many other things that Jesus did. Were every one of them to be written, I suppose that the world itself could not contain the books that would be written. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
As I mentioned at the beginning of the Mass, we are on the threshold of the Feast of Pentecost. And if you are a regular reader of the Scriptures, you will recognize today that both the readings from the Acts of the Apostle and from the Gospel of John, they are taken from the very last chapter of the Acts and the Gospel of John. And interestingly, John tells us that he has been a witness of everything that has happened, and therefore his testimony is credible. His testimony is credible. But interestingly, if we be listening to the gospel of today, we see after Jesus, or while Jesus was walking and Peter was at his side, Peter looks back and he sees John following, and then he asks Jesus, "What about this man?" And then Jesus very curtly replies to him, "It is none of your business. Your business is follow me. Follow me." Yes, my dear brothers and sisters, many of us, many people today are unduly distracted by the unessentials of our faith. We are distracted by the unessential considerations regarding the spiritual gifts that we are endowed with, spiritual powers that we look for. We are distracted with predicting the future and what may happen in the future. We are distracted with just asking for healing or even the fear of evil spirits. We are distracted also by the thought about the end of the world. So these distractions, you might say, take us away from following as a disciple of Christ. These distractions take us away from the focus on which we as disciples are called to be. We are called to follow Christ rather than be distracted by all these things. The essential task of every disciple is therefore to follow and to believe in good times or in bad that Christ is always with us. Rather than be distracted, our faith calls us just to follow Christ. And if we listen to the words of Christ, we can say the words that he addressed to Peter are the very same words he'll address to many of us today. do not be distracted. Believe, trust that I will be with you always, even to the end of time. So Paul beautifully puts it when he says, whether we live, whether we die, we belong to Christ.